getting access to quality education is the civil rights issue of our era. So the answer to your question is no. There is not equal access to quality education in our society, not here in San Francisco, not here in
I
California.
don't think that equal access to quality education exists at all.
I would say pretty definitely that equal access to education doesn't exist. I mean, certainly if you consider borders across countries, different socioeconomic backgrounds, I mean, certainly how much you can pay for an education matters a lot in what kind of education you can get.
And I guess what it comes down to ultimately is like, um, I guess you just have to pay for education. I mean, like Lick's tuition is $32,000, and I guess this leads to your second question, which is about how Lick provides quality education for everyone. And well, it's I guess financial aid, because I receive financial aid, and I wouldn't be able to have this education if it didn't exist. I wouldn't be here right now.
Advantages. But we also know that there is a demonstrated correlation between level of income and SAT scores. And no, that doesn't mean there's not variation. There are kids who aren't affluent who get good SAT scores and so on. But generally speaking, there is that correlation. We also know that there's a direct correlation between affluence and being legacies. And that
Such a complicated.
No, you're good. No, it is. It's a
But-
really hard question.
But if we're going to assume that there are that richer individuals and families are white, and poor families are minorities, which there is statistically a majority of. I feel like there's a majority of whites who have more money. So, in terms of it's like it's not necessarily race based. It's more economically based. But there's a correlation between economic between being in a high economic class and race.
Equal access to education exists at Lick? I would say in the wider sense, no. Because Lick is an independent school, we don't give equal access to everyone. It's not a public institution. There's no federal, mandate. It's not a right. This education is not a right, whereas a public education is compulsory and a right. So from that perspective, it's not. So we're already, the people who are selected and who come here are chosen, right? So there's the application process, which you all know, that whole thing, right? So from that perspective, it's not equal access. I also think once students are here, then you can answer that question again, right? So in some ways you can say, yeah, I mean, it is equal access, we have, classes that are open to everyone. I mean, yeah, we have requirements, but, everyone has an equal right to sign up for a class if they're eligible to take it. So in that respect, that's true. So people do have that right to sort of gain access that way. I think the other thing that's interesting to think about is if we have that access and that accessibility, what does that really mean in terms of success?
Well, I think Lick definitely tries to, by certainly admitting a variety of students from different areas and socioeconomic backgrounds, providing financial aid and the like. I would say they're probably not 100% successful in that, just because, I mean, it's still a good chunk of money no matter where you're coming from. And certainly getting in is not easy to begin with. So I would say sort of.
Oftentimes, first-generation kids or parents of first-generation to go to college, because those parents really don't want them to go very far from home.
Yeah.
And so, in that sense, we sometimes will get criticized from the outside because we don't send enough kids to the Ivy League. If the Ivy League is the right place for you, great, that's fabulous. But you and I know it's not necessarily where you're going to get the best education, and is not necessarily what is going to be the best match for you. So we want our kids to be prepared to really thrive in college and to find a college that's the right match. And you've heard me say this in open house speeches, that we are, honest to God, as proud of a Lick graduate who goes to, Sonoma State as we are Harvard.
Right. Yeah.
If they've worked hard and,
Yeah.
all of that. So,
Absolutely.
and that's true, and that's honest.
Yeah.
But it's also pretty unique.
Yeah.
At school, but in terms of quality, it doesn't have the teachers and resources that Lick provides that give me the opportunity to have not only the quality education that I'm receiving at my high school, but a better opportunity to have that similar quality education in college, wherever I end up.
Equal access to education does not exist, though it's a dream and a hope and something that we would all like to see come in the future.